What's up, you want to be Mexican?
I don't even know what to think about that, bro. I'm not even going to say anything.
I didn't think you'd like that one. What's going on? We're attempting to see if we can record this for a fun, ranty episode, but it will be on all the normal pages, all the normal shit. So, but it might be on YouTube. We'll see what happens.
So what's up, dude? How was your New Year's? You told me you guys are on lockdown again, or what's going on?
Well, yeah, I guess in the Lost Cryptid episode that I lost, I did mention that we're on lockdown till the end of January. So it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. You can only do so much. So I got a fucking beer. I got a dab going. I got another dab ready, and I got a joint ready for this episode because we're just doing a full-on free-for-all rant episode.
Nice. Yeah. I
just got drunk on New Year's, and we watched. It was kind of cool. We actually watched we watched this video on YouTube where it was like the ball dropping and countdowns over the years since like the 1940s. And I was laughing my ass off because the ball was rickety as shit in the 80s. The ball was coming down, it's fucking shaking and shit. And I was like, holy fuck, like that looks dangerous.
The one in New York, you mean? Because they still did it this year, right?
Yeah, but like it was like from the 1940s until like now, and it was showing all the different ball drops throughout the years. We cut through some of it because it's fucking long, but like it was pretty trippy seeing it like the 1940s as like black and white and this big bright balls coming down and then, but I don't know if you can see the quality, but then in the 70s it started to get really rickety. If there's fucking wind, you see the ball go back and forth like it's gonna swing off the hilter and shit.
Yeah, that's wild. New York's a shithole, right? It's
some people love it, some people hate it. So
yeah, you know I mean they've had a mass exodus since all this started with the whole COVID. I went ahead and I listened to that thing you had recommended to me,
the David Icke London Reel.
Yeah, it makes me. You know what I've noticed about a lot of these guys that are like conspiracy theory, the guys that are not conspiracy theorists, like alternative thought.
Yeah.
It pisses me off when they're like, no, dude, COVID, it wasn't made in a lab. This is just happens naturally. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
You don't believe mainstream history. You don't trust the government to believe the timeline they had presented to us. You believe in the Anunnaki. You believe in this ancient astronaut bullshit. And then you're going to tell me you believe that COVID was a natural thing.
I know. I don't really know about what's his name, fucking Brian or some shit. I don't really know about him. I watch some of his YouTube stuff once in a while, but he doesn't always seem too legit about his beliefs. It's cool that he's expanding.
That pisses me off.
I know, and the London Reel is good because they do bring in a bunch of different thinkers, I guess you could call them, or whatever, free thought people and people within different conspiracy worlds. I like that. But the thing is, I love David Icke, and it's funny because this will come out right after me and Billy just did a population control episode, and I brought up David Icke a lot because of watching those podcasts. Even though I've watched David Icke since I was for more than 10 years now, I find him interesting. I don't believe in all the shit he says, but I find it interesting. And that it's just, I don't fucking believe that if it is maybe has something to do with 5G network, I don't think that's all it has to do with. Like he believes that it doesn't exist. COVID doesn't exist and that's all 5G network, which I don't fucking know.
I don't.
I don't subscribe to that theory.
I believe that 5G does have an effect on us because as we already know, Nikola Tesla, a lot of cymatics, frequencies and wavelengths and sounds, they can affect us. You can separate water molecules with certain hertz and certain frequencies by just that.
Yeah, and
so I believe if you're pumping this shit into the air,
David Icke does that video, right?
Do what?
David Icke does that video. What isn't that video, that heart math place? And it shows like they use frequencies to change like frozen, like they pump it into the water and they freeze it and they write the word hate into it and then it looks all fucked up. But if you write love, it looks beautiful. So it is weird. It is weird.
That's where the whole Saturn time cube simulation argument comes from, where we think that Saturn is emitting this frequency that's causing the hexagon at its north pole that frequency that it's emitting. And then obviously if you hear the recording from space of Saturn, if you believe in space, if you subscribe to space, that the demiurge is Saturn, and throughout all of history, which we've talked about, it relates back to that this archetype of Saturn, Kronos, Satan, whatever.
And it's funny, even if you subscribe, how you say if you subscribe to space is real, because the fans have spoken. Me and Billy will cover Flat Earth, and we're gonna do it in a couple weeks or something. But are you
gonna do it?
Yeah, and I researched because the fans wanted it, and I'll do it for them. I never want to do it because I fucking hate Flat Earthers. Oh, we have lots of fans, or you wouldn't have any fans. We bring them together through Juan and Tom.
I have two. The only fans I have are like the two people that came over from your podcast.
But so they wanted it, so I got the fans to vote, and we got a bunch of votes in, and they want us to Flat Earth, so we're gonna do it. But researching that shit, man, it's just like I'm just thinking I'm just gonna make fun of this shit hardcore.
It gives me an aneurysm thinking about it.
I know that you interviewed Brian Weiss, or whatever the fuck his name is,
David Weiss and Mark Sargent.
Mark Sargent, I just can't believe you got stupid Mark Sargent on your podcast.
I haven't posted it yet. I'm gonna be editing. I've just been so busy. Yeah, bro. I haven't released an episode in a few weeks, dude. I've been so busy, man.
Fuck. We couldn't do that. I'm extremely, for all the fans out there, I make sure we have content, because I'm pissed if I can't do one, or if, say, like with the lockdown, like Billy's cars is fucked right now. So he's like, we'll see if I can make it. If not, we're going to have to do how me and you do it, and do it through StreamYard or fucking
Billy, don't be a bitch.
And I was like, get your car fixed. He's put so much money into this shitty Mazda, and it's just like it keeps fucking up on him.
Why? What's what kind of Mazda is it? A 323 or something?
Something stupid. I can't remember what fucking kind of car it is.
Something stupid.
I got this. I just rolled with these papers. They're supposed to taste like candy canes. They don't really. I got. I don't know if you saw on the Instagram. I got this fucking dope package, and it was like worth $200, but you got it for $150. And it was a bunch of edibles, weed, like papers. They gave you a bunch of free shit for like a holiday sale. It was pretty dope. Like, and they gave me a free bag of weed for customer appreciation. I'm not going to shout out the company because I don't want them to get flagged, because they're kind of illegal because they're not government owned in Canada.
Do you do carts, bro? You do carts, right?
What?
Like cartridges?
Like weed cartridges?
Yeah.
I have the one pen, and it works. Like, I like it, and you can kind of get different kind of flavors and shit like that. Like the one I'm using, I have it's like root beer flavored. I still have that one. The banana one's gone, but it gets a little sticky. I think it's the flavor they put into it. But I got my buddy in on him because he doesn't like smoking too much. Those pens work for people that just want to get stoned once in a while, or one time at night or something like that.
Yeah, the problem is that they put so much shit into those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they put shit in everything. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. My higher self knows when I'm gonna die. So,
but I guess like flour is the safest. Literally, I mean, it's flour.
Edibles technically are the safest because you're not infecting your lungs in the same way. Even though like weed can barely affect your lungs, but like it can to an extent.
Did you hear about like if you smoke weed that the molecules or something like that doesn't let COVID attach to it?
Yeah, I heard about that. That can help with COVID, which is like maybe I will like maybe that's why I haven't got it or some shit. Because I don't care. Because like I wear a mask and I do my due diligence, but like at work I barely wear a mask. I don't really give a shit. Like I just like I'm over it. I sometimes forget to wash my hands after coming home after being out. I always wash my hands after I piss, except for when I'm at home.
Do you know anybody who's gotten it?
No,
personally?
not one person.
Really?
I've only heard of podcasters that I listen to that have gotten it.
Really? So you don't know none of your distant family members?
Not one fucking person. Not one.
Did you hear about COVID 2.0?
From fucking Britain? Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be like 70 times more fucking, like, that's just so stupid. Who fucking made that shit?
I mean, I don't want to say it, but they always come out with a new iPhone every year, don't they?
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. It's like, how far is this going to fucking go?
So yeah, and that's the thing, dude. Yeah. With all this QAnon bullshit and the political stuff, we're still not done with the elections. there's going to
That's
be
what I was
a
going to
march.
ask you. That's literally what I was just going to ask you about.
There's going to be a march on D.C. tomorrow, starting today, supposedly, where they're all going to get together and they're going to protest the Electoral College submitting their votes. And supposedly it's supposed to be really big. They're talking about
There's
Trump
going to be
calling
those
for martial
Trumpers
law,
out there. Oh, my God.
staging a coup, all this craziness. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh, you don't think they're going to? I thought they were going to protest at least.
They're going to protest it. It's supposed to be big. It's supposed to be real big. But I don't know, dude. I don't think that anything's going to come of it. I think Biden's going to go ahead and
this is going to come out the week after.
The
fans and people know. This is going to come out a week after when this shit goes down.
Who the fuck knows? I don't want to bring anything. I don't want to bring anything or manifest anything into existence. So that's why I'm not saying anything. But if something does happen, then it'll be historical. They're talking about Trump not leaving. I personally feel that he's going to go ahead and just throw in the towel.
Didn't the Simpsons predict that he was going to get elected again? I thought they predicted he got elected twice or some shit. They also predicted he died. They predicted he died. They showed like his fucking coffin and shit.
His funeral. Yeah. Again, I don't believe in any of that shit. I
don't know. It is weird, or it's just like thought manifestates real. Like it ended up happening because people see it and think about it. Well, just know that there
is 74 million people just wanting that, right? But
wanting
then again,
Trump
there's
dead?
wanting Trump to be the president, but there's also 74 other million people who want Biden to be president.
That want him dead.
Yeah, exactly. I'm serious.
There's people that absolutely fucking hate Trump, and then there's people.
Have you heard of like the witches getting together to put a hex on Trump, and they're all collectively doing it?
During the fucking protests, like even the Black Lives Matter protest, those witches were fucking cool. I saw like TikToks and stuff. I saw like TikToks about like these women were going to funerals and they're dressed in all black and like dressed like witches, and I can't remember what exactly their name is. Like it might just be people who believe in Wicca, which is still fucking huge to this day, especially with women, it seems like. But and there was people and they were dressed with veils over their face so you couldn't see their face, and they were protesting with signs and saying the witches are back kind of shit and you can't burn us again or something like that. And it was pretty cool. I was like, this is fucking dope.
Did you check out Hellier yet, dude?
I know what it is. Isn't it about like goblins and shit and weird stuff? Because
it goes off the deep end, bro. It gets towards the end. It gets very.
So it's a real. Is it based? Is it real? Is it real?
It's
like, is it a real show? Is it a documentary? I thought it was like a doc.
It's like a docu-series type of thing, but it's real. It's like real people, real researchers.
Yeah, I just heard about some like goblin or some shit.
Yeah, the Kentucky goblins, they go into that, and then they go into this other realm of it gets good towards the very end.
See, because my work schedule and the way I live and stuff like that, I podcast, the only time I get to watch shows is with my girlfriend. So if she's not feeling it, then I love Star Wars, but she's not a huge Star Wars fan. Like she watches the new ones with me, but I absolutely love Star Wars and always have. So I watch Mandalorian when I can, and I finished it. And for all the fans that like Star Wars, Mandalorian ending is like, woo! I was fucking super surprised by that.
So I've heard, but I haven't watched it, dude. I haven't been able to get into it.
I just want to tell the fans.
Dude, I've had this patch on my wallet for years before all the
so you love Charmander, eh? I'm just joking. It's Boba Fett.
Yeah, I was say, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Just smoke too much weed,
dude. I got so stoned the other day. I don't know if you've ever experienced this.
Yeah,
and I don't want to say it was paranoia. I don't think it was, but I felt like everything that anybody was saying. I was watching YouTube videos, and anything anybody said was like suspicious to me. So then I started watching different videos, and I'm like, oh. So what I was watching was like, a 22-year-old stock trader millionaire, right? Day trader millionaire. And you could tell the guy is full of shit. And I'm like, there's no way people believe this. But then in the comments, the guy has like a cult-like following, and they kind of like are sarcastic. Yeah. And they go, I can't believe this guy is so good. But you know that they're being stupid. So I was like, wait, do these people really believe this guy? But then, like, I started watching other videos.
Joel Osteen and shit. So
then I started watching other videos, and it was like, my son was the Columbine shooter, and I'm like, the lady's talking, and I'm like, this lady's full of shit.
Is it? So was she what? like Dylan Cobalt and Eric Harris. She was one of their Dylan.
One of the two, but she was talking. Suspect. She was doing a TED talk, and I was like, "This lady's full of shit." But then I'm like, "But that really did happen."
They just really like fucking Manson, and they didn't like the kids at the school, so bang bang.
That's fucking wild, though, dude. Can you imagine just like killing somebody, man? I don't know.
I couldn't imagine we always thought when we were kids. When YouTube came out, it wasn't really, especially the way it is now, where like if you talk about the 5G, especially like David Icke, you're fucked. But I remember we used to watch like old school music videos. There's a bunch of stuff, but I remember watching this. It was called 0 Day, and it was on YouTube for a while, and it was a school shooting, and I'm pretty sure it was Columbine, and they showed the entire video and the security cam footage, and we watched it on YouTube at least like 3 times. I don't know why all my friends are fucked, but there'll be like 5-6 of us around the tiny computer screen in the early 2000s watching like fucked up videos on YouTube, and I remember seeing that fucking 0 Day footage, and I'm pretty sure
gore.com.
Yeah, we're like, rotten.com is fucked. Yeah. So it was weird watching the shooters go through, and I always, like, now that I'm older and I've done all this research, it's just like there is the theories that it was set up by the CIA. I think we'll eventually talk about in Strange Brew, but like that it was a CIA, and there was 20 witnesses that said it didn't look like Eric Harris or Dylan Cobalt, but
Are you talking about
suspect.
Columbine?
Yeah, it's suspect. There's people that believe that it was set up by the CIA, and which is fucked up. And have you ever heard of Falsewoods?
No.
So this is fucked. Falsewoods was, I like the Kennedys. Like their story is fucked. I want to get more into it in a strange route, but like the Kennedy situation is weird. I like that there's a documentary on RFK, like Robert Kennedy Jr. or Kennedy, not Jr. That's his son. But like about him and what his policy stood for. And I always liked it, but there is some suspect shit about everybody that's in power. And he was planning on doing this thing, and they called it, I think, Falsewoods, if I'm not wrong. And they were planning all this stuff based on having like set up school shootings so they can enforce laws on guns. And it was like written out, and this was documented, and I'm pretty sure you can find it, but it's really sketchy and shit. And it was like, fuck, I really liked him, and it seemed like he stood for something good. And if he was actually trying to push this, or the government was telling him to push it, I think it's fucking weird.
Did you see that tweet by that guy talking about Linwood? Have you seen that?
Linwood. Lynn's
yeah.
Wood? Who's that?
No, Lynn Wood. He is an attorney, and he has 1 million followers on Twitter, and he was talking about like how they blackmail the elites. They walk up to them with a kid, they make them shoot the kid or rape the kid on camera to be able to blackmail the... Did you see that?
No, but I believe that because that's how I think they get celebrities into it and stuff too. They blackmail. I'll give you what you want, but you got to rape this kid.
Supposedly they had sent videos to Isaac Cappy. Did you ever look into Isaac Cappy?
No, I don't know who the fuck that is. I'm surprised I don't, but
he was a celebrity, and he ended up killing himself after looking into some things, and then it gets into Tracy Twyman. She was also looking into it, and like the whole child sex track. QAnon, bro.
Anthony Bourdain, man. People think that he committed suicide, but I always thought that they killed him because he was trying to expose a bunch of shit. And he had problems with heroin and addiction. He's one of my favorite chefs. He used to have a show. He used to go around the world, and they say he killed himself. Even Chris Webby, a pretty famous rapper, he talks about it. He's like, whatever. It's talking about if you talk or go against it, they'll Anthony Bourdain you. And I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah. I was like, I'm not the only one to think that. Like, oh, sweet.
Or like the guy from Lincoln Park. Did you ever see that?
Well, that's also weird. I would like to talk about that further, about like the sex ring. I want to do an episode about, it sounds fucked, but about the sex rings and how fucked it is, and how Ashton Kutcher, the guy in that 70s show, is trying to fight against it right now, and it's pretty kind of cool. So we'll see if he gets murdered next. But Chester Bennington, he fucking was into it and got into it and shit. And then they supposedly killed him because his best friend said that he wasn't suicidal at the time or some shit. But you never know. Yeah, people commit suicide for no reason.
This guy's talking about the Chief Justice John Roberts.
Yeah.
He's on the. Supposedly he's in a picture here. I'm looking right now.
So fucking weird.
With Bill Clinton on Epstein Island.
Well, it's like, why is he not getting fucking pointed the finger at? That old ass fuck should be in jail. He should have been in jail a long time ago. Should have been in jail in the fucking 80s.
Supposedly Isaac Cappy had a dead man switch. Tracy Twyman did as well. And it's, I don't know how much I believe all this stuff. I mean, obviously there is something that's going on. I do believe in the whole QAnon thing, right? With them taking kids, and it's a more metaphysical thing. What David Icke talks about, right? That they're worshiping these beings, and
I've said this for years. Like the children, like don't go missing en masse for no fucking reason. So, and by now, I just like it sounds fucked, but why wouldn't the government be smart enough to have like these underground? I don't know why. This is my stone brain.
They
thinking.
Do have underground.
No,
bases,
I know they do.
Dude.
I know they have lots of underground bases, but why wouldn't they do this? Check this out. So you have an underground base, no one knows where it is, and then you traffic, traffic all these women in, but like new women that are like young. This sounds horrible, but if you were smart enough to be part of the government, why wouldn't you do this? And then you have like, I don't know, 1,000 women or more, and then you just like get them to have sex, get pregnant, and you wait, and they all have kids around the same time, and then you raise those kids to about fucking 5 or 6, and then you do your weird fucked up magic on them. Isn't that crazy?
So much more fucked up.
But no, they're taking kids from families that like
that is
grown
so fucked, dude. I can't believe you even said that, bro.
I
that
said
is
if
so
I was
up.
the government, like wouldn't that be a smart way?
So this will be a segue into what I wanted to talk to you about, right? Because kids, I feel that they can tap into these frequencies, and there's some fuckery afoot, right, with the elites and kids, and
I just don't. It's fucking weird,
and it goes way back to ancient Mesopotamia and Babylonian times and all that stuff, and all these worship, the worship of all these gods. But anyways, I was out in the boondocks this past weekend, and my son is about to be 3, and mind you, this is the middle of nowhere. It's a swamp. There's a lot of people around, right? Because it's a place where a lot of people go to camp and stuff. And my son starts talking about a monkey, dude. He starts calling me a monkey, and I'm like, what? Like, because it was weird. Out of all the places he could be talking about monkeys, it had to be there, right? So I'm like, I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, monkey. And I'm like, bro, monkey? Like, where'd you see a monkey? He's like, over there. I'm like, he's just pointing. He's a kid. But sometimes
there's not
kids
supposed to be monkeys there, right? I don't know in the States.
Well, that's the thing, dude. There is monkeys here in Florida, but not near where we were at. Not that I know of, but I was like, and kids tend to repeat what you tell them. Like, hey, what are you talking about? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like they'll repeat shit. But he said it on his own. He was like, oh, monkey. And I was like, fucking monkey, what? So then I showed him a picture of Bigfoot, bro. And I was like, is this what you saw? He's like, yeah, monkey. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. Fuck. Dude, what if you saw Bigfoot? And you guys were just
out in the wetlands kind of shit? Or like just out
I was
out
in the boondocks, bro. I was out in the middle. I was on some trails in my truck, we're just off-roading.
You saw the skunk ape. That's what you saw, man.
I didn't see him. He probably did. But I mean, what if the skunk ape was toned to a different frequency where only he could see him for a certain amount of time?
That's fucking weird, because that makes sense, because kids end up, they have like they think kids are psyched up to the age of 5 because they're still connected with the astral body that they just came from. You know what I mean? So like,
because dude, he'd never said monkey other than obviously he's about to be 3.
All right, that makes fucking weirdly sense.
He's only seen a monkey at the zoo. We hadn't talked about monkeys at all that day, but as soon as we're in there, he's like, oh, the monkey. And I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? He's like, the monkey over there. And I'm like, bro. I looked at my wife and I was like, are you thinking what I'm thinking? She's like, no. I'm like, yes.
No, that sounds like
he fucking saw Bigfoot, bro. How fucking wild is that?
That's like, so crazy.
And then I showed him a picture.
There's some crazy fucking monkey or man that just dressed like a monkey in the trees somewhere out there,
like in a ghillie suit or something like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't see anybody, bro. I didn't see anything. It was it's freaking. It got dark, and then that was it. We were just on the trails, but
that's fucking weird.
That's fucking
my
wild,
thing's
right?
not as intense. Just like on Christmas Eve, we were like, me and my girlfriend hanging out. Like it was like we're We already drank, or we're having like a drink or two, and then everything's already done. Our family stuff's done, and then we hear like a knock. And I was like, what the fuck? And she's like, what the fuck is that? She thinks she heard one, I think, before it. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I go upstairs, and then I get a feeling like a fucking shiver goes over my entire body. But I'm like, hey, there's nothing here. I look at the front door, check the side door, looked out, and then just because I fucked with spirits for so long, I banged back. It scared the shit out of my girlfriend. But I do that because if it is a spirit and you respond and you bang back, sometimes they'll do it. And I was like, whatever. I was like, that was nothing. Like, I always brush it off as nothing. We've heard sounds in this house before, and we're just renting this house, and we've been here actually like fucking 4 years now, since we were like young teenage or young in our 20s. And now that happened, and I was like, okay, we're sitting there, and then I hear it again, and I was like, that is the fucking weirdest shit. It sounded like someone was almost like knocking at the front door, and I came upstairs instantly and like looked out the front door, looked everywhere. It's Christmas Eve. It was like 10 o'clock at night. Nobody's
It was like
out.
a clear knock though.
Yeah. Yes. Twice. And like, it was like, it's Canada. We're on lockdown, and we're supposed to be on lockdown around this time, just after Christmas. And so like people aren't out, and it's snowy. And on that day, it was like a snowstorm. There was like, well, a storm, but there was snow everywhere, and it was a shitty night. So it was fucking just super weird. But I trust my feelings when it comes to shit most times. And so when I came upstairs, and the second time, it just feels like, and I always describe it as that like cracking egg feeling, where it feels like when people do that to you, and they crack and they do this. I don't know if you ever did that.
Fucking friends you have. My friends.
Elementary school. It was a thing that kids used to do. I don't know. This is a Canadian thing. It's supposed to like, oh, crack the egg, and then you do it over their head, and then somebody else running their fingers on your face, and it makes you a shiver all over your entire body.
What fucking school you went to, bro?
I don't know. The girls used to do that. Oh, crack the egg on your head.
Fucking Canadians. Man.
I know. Just like, did you ever play that thing that like it opened up and you could pick a number and shit? Okay, at least you play with that. I don't know why that brought that up, but like. And I don't know. I just thought that was fucking trippy and shit, though. Like, it's like a feeling, like I get tingles all over my entire body, and people believe that as like obviously something trying to communicate with you. Chills. It's always communicated with ghosts, and I felt it twice, like from my head to my toe, like just a shiver. And I was
do you have Disney Plus, bro?
Yeah, I was gonna say we did think maybe it was someone knocking. Like, my grandpa's dead, my grandma's dead, my other grandpa's dead. I only have one grandparent left, and she just drinks beer and goes to Mexico and resorts. So I don't know how she's still alive, but I thought that was fucking weird. And I was like, it's Christmas Eve. Maybe someone's just knocking in. You know what I mean? Saying hello.
There is a movie on Disney Plus. It's a kids movie.
You're talking about Soul?
Yes.
I just talked about this in the population control episode.
Oh, you did? I haven't listened to it.
No, it's coming out. It will come out just before this one. So that's fucking funny.
It's weird, right?
You want to know my opinion about it? Or what do you like?
I haven't finished it. I'm halfway through it, but it's just, I feel like for a kids movie to talk about astral projection and the realm and the spirits and the thing that harvests all the souls before they go to Earth, like it's like, oh, what are you? It's like, well, for your consciousness to be able to understand what I am what they call, what was the name, Fred or something like that?
Yeah,
it's like Ralph or some shit.
No, but like that shit tripped me out. We finished it, like it got repetitive and boring for me. Like, I like Pixar. We mentioned it. Billy's like, Pixar's still kicking, and I was like, Pixar still makes money. They're the Disney's number one like animation studio. And so when we watched it, I said, my girlfriend said, she also said, like, this is a big concept for kids. And I was like, yeah, but we feed them religion too. Now I just thought about that. We do feed them religion. So it's kind of the same shit. We're like, a guy in the sky will fucking grant you wishes. And if you believe in him and you don't jerk off too often, you'll go to this place that, that's great. So in this movie, it's weird that they show it, but not in a religious way at all. It is literally just like, you die, your spirit goes into like a collective thing with other souls, and you're supposed to go to a certain place. I thought that was fucking weird that they like, this is a big concept for kids, but also is it?
And like reincarnation, it talks about reincarnation.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of fucking trippy. Like, I was like, fucking Disney, no religion at all, coming from a Jew hater.
Yeah, and it's like with the whole, I feel like those things were like the archons, like controlling your emotions, and you're gonna be so and so, and your passion's gonna be this and be that.
The passion thing, it goes further with the passion thing. I thought that was weird too. Like I said, am I going there like I want my passion to be music because that's what I want to be, but I never had huge success with music. But like podcasting was like the next best thing. But it's just like, was that my choice, or did I want something different? Because I think your higher self knows, but I think there's like you can fuck up your own fate, I believe.
By what? By thinking about that?
Or like, you know, putting yourself in a bad situation that you should have. Like I think I could have had a better life if I didn't get myself in trouble with the law so young and did stupid shit with my dumb friends like that. If I believe in alternate reality, so there's a reality where I didn't get arrested when I was like 14 and kind of fucked up my life for a bit. And I believe in split realities too, right? So it's just like, you know, there's a life that my girlfriend is with someone else and I'm with someone else. There's different, and that you're here for certain reasons.
Do you ever just sit and think about that, bro? Like, what if what if you wouldn't have done that? Like, what if you wouldn't have done
life
that
changes,
one thing?
Like life changes so quickly when it comes to that shit too.
If you wouldn't have seen that one person that one day at that one time, your life would be so much different now. And like you said, you might be on some other. If
me and my buddy, one that was never into conspiracy, started talking to Harp about me. One of my best friends I grew up with. We don't hang out too much now, but he's like we still talk and shit, but he's one of my good friends, known since grade 6. And he was talking about Harp, and it was kind of weird to like, and I didn't really know about it. And then he showed me videos, and he's like, and I was like, you're not even really into this shit. Because I liked punk music that was anti-government for a long time.
Like Rage Against the Machine type shit?
Yeah, you would like, there's a band called Anti-Flag. If you never heard of them, check them out. There was a song in one of their old albums like, gotta die for your government, die for your country, that shit. So they had songs like that, like in a really, look up Anti-Flag, they're fucking dope.
You like System of a Down?
Yeah, System of a Down also. I play that shit at work all the time.
Is that too mainstream for you?
I love System of a Down. I grew up listening to that. I was like 12, 13 when like I remember BYOB on Much Music when I was like 14 and shit. So like I love those kind of music. But then my buddy started showing me this shit, and then we saw stars, and I've said this to you before, that were moving in the sky and going like red, black, orange, yellow. And he wasn't really into this stuff. I was starting to like get into aliens and anti-government shit. And then we got binoculars out and we looked up, and it didn't look like a star. It looked like something changing color like in moments. It's fucking weird.
What do you think about that bill that they passed that gives the government 180 days to come up with a report about UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon?
What? They have to do that? Your government?
Yeah. I keep thinking you're in the States. I forget that you're in Canada, but they passed. I believe it was a defense bill or the COVID relief bill. One of the bills that's just money laundering, and in it there was a clause that said that they have 180 days to come up with some report of what's the latest on the UAP phenomenon.
That's interesting. How'd that get passed?
But that's the thing. Since it's so much bullshit and just bulk and like 5,000 pages of just shit, they don't read any of it. And I guess somebody put it in there, and I feel it's like Trump like trolling them, like, "Hey, I'm getting out of here, so fuck you guys."
Do you hear Joe Rogan talking about like the bill they're passing, the one that you were talking about? But they can also like if you stream movies illegally, that they can like you can get or fined or some fucking shit. It was something ridiculous, and he's like, "Why?" I
use a VPN, so I don't know.
Something to do with I know it's something to do with that, and he was like, "What the fuck?" I was watching a clip on it. I was like, "That's weird."
Yeah, no, but I think Joe Rogan did post about it. Said that they have 180. They're on a time clock right now. They're on a countdown. They have 180 days to come up with a report about UAPs. It's not UFOs anymore. It's UAPs.
I'm not calling it that shit. I like UFOs better.
Yeah, and like yesterday I was watching this video. This guy's name is Robert Seth, I think his name is. He's this real big guy on YouTube. Yeah. And he does a lot of good videos about like esoteric stuff.
Good stuff.
And he was talking about how like the Nazis had otherworldly like technology, and that's how they were able to win.
Shit, like
it's like Operation High Jump shit.
Yeah.
You know, Hollow Earth.
I was talking about it today.
And what's the white lady and the black lady, the famous abductee case? What's their names?
white lady
Barney.
and a black lady, that would have been way. That would have been way crazier because this would have been like lesbians and they're black and white. Betty and Barney. Hill. Yeah.
And supposedly, like, when they were interviewing him with, like, the hypnosis and stuff.
He saw Nazis on the fucking ship.
Yeah, that's fucking like wild, right?
I want to get... That's why me and Billy very soon are going to dive into Roswell because I like other podcasts, we go all over the place, but I want to build like a scenario. Like we've talked about basic aliens and good and bad aliens in older episodes, and then we've talked about like abductions, and then I want to get into like Roswell and then the history kind of it, and then Betty and Barney Hill after, because that shit's fucked. When he's in like the chair and being interviewed, he's like, I can see them, they're touching me. It's like he's fucking fucked. He's like freaking out and shit.
Do you believe in hypnosis, bro?
Yeah, I tried to. Someone tried to put me under hypnosis. It was during so in the city I live in, they used to have pretty much an alien I don't know, what do you call it? Like a
convention.
It's like a convention. It was like a UFO convention. For doing it in Brantford, this very shitty city, it was surprising. And so me and my girlfriend went twice, and the first year we went, we met this guy, and he was a hypnotherapist, and I was stoned. I showed up stoned, obviously. It's alien stuff. I saw fucking Travis Walton, though. Straight up. He was there. I saw
Travis Walton.
Travis Walton is one of the, look it up, it's one of the most famous abductee cases. It was based on Fire in the Sky.
Oh, this guy. Movie, I think he's been on Joe Rogan, hasn't he?
No, Joe Rogan's never had him on there yet. That'd be kind of cool.
Talked about him. No, he had Jack Valet on.
Yeah. That'd be kind of crazy if you had him on. But yeah, so I saw Travis Walton, also saw Paul Hellyer, the defense minister of Canada. I didn't pay for their shows. I just saw them walking in and shit. Paul Hellyer is the defense minister of Canada I've told you about, that has the video on Parliament that said that there's like different races of aliens and all that shit. But it was kind of cool. So I saw them, but their shows were expensive. Like to go see them was expensive. So we just kind of toured around, looked at stuff. There was books. There was people peddling their own shit. There was a guy that was talking, and I still remember this, all these pictures of clouds. And the guy, I can't remember what he called it, but he says that there was UFOs in the clouds, and this cloud is this kind of ship because he can tell because of this. And he bought his own booth in this city and was like, "This is my booth." That
makes sense, though, dude.
No, there is theories that talk about how they use the technology. I could get into it in a second. I don't want to lose my train of thought. What the fuck was I talking about? I'll go into that. And this guy essentially tried to put me on like fucking hypnosis, and I was stoned, and I got really relaxed, but it didn't work. But then in the next year, I met his son, and his son said a lot of crazy shit that that I don't know how he knew. Like he was like, "Do you ever get a feeling like it touching on the back of your head, like your crown?" And I was like, "Yeah." My girlfriend's like, "Yeah, all the time." He's like, "That's he's your soul guide or some shit like that." And he's like, "He's a monkey." And I was like, "Why is he a monkey?" And he's like, "To match your personality." And he's like,
you told me about this.
Yeah, I know. And he sits on your shoulder. So this guy, I talked to him. He knew shit about my girlfriend. There was one thing I remember him saying about me and my girlfriend, both separate events, that like it's impossible for him to know. And all my buddies that are skeptics are like, "Oh, he's just telling you what you're giving off cues or something like that." But I don't know if I believe that. What's the question you asked? Because that was a good fucking one, and I was like,
if you'd ever been hypnotized.
No, I know the next one. I said no, it didn't work. Like I was too stoned. It got me relaxed. You asked me something when I was talking about the cloud alien. Oh, I was going to say...
it would make sense, dude. But because if you really think about it, if they're interdimensional, they could have technology to where they could camouflage and be a cloud. Do you know how much a cloud weighs, man? Bro?
It's in movies. It was in the Avengers. Their fucking ship goes invisible, and they put mirrors up. And like, you know what I mean?
You know how much a cloud weighs, dude?
Like tons? Isn't it fucking heavy?
1.1 million pounds.
Yeah, I thought Billy had a stupid fact about that in an episode. I remember hearing that.
That's fucking... How is that up in the sky? What about gravity?
I don't understand that either. Well, that's the flat earthers are going to come out the woodwork, and I don't understand that. You should scratch your head. I want to scratch my head.
That's fucking wild. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. Like,
there is a show I wish you could watch. I've never really watched the original. I want to. My dad used to tell me about it. It's a show called V. And it was in the 80s. And look up the show V. It's just like V, letter V. And it was a show in the 80s. And the guy actually that played Freddy Krueger was in it. And it was a show about like these beings that came down but paraded themselves that they were good and they were
reptilians, dude.
Yes, and that they were human. But then people started finding out they're reptilians. This is literally drip fed information, and the show was in the 80s. So these things were shape shifting creatures essentially, and then they people started to figure it out. But I watched the 2010 remake, and I watched bits and pieces of the 80s one. But it's literally like David Icke's theories before David Icke even talked about it. And in the 2010 version, they have a ship when they come down, they can like reflect what they see. It's like mirroring the clouds, and it can make the ship look like a cloud. And I was like, that was like in 2010, and they were showing like that these ships could maybe do that. And it's drip fed. I think this shit is drip fed, and they tell you a little bit. They
coming out
it.
with the new Matrix. I'm very excited about that.
I'm so excited. That's dope. I heard about that too. Also, I'm really excited about Jackass coming out.
Is the new Jackass coming out?
Yeah, and Steve-O and Johnny already got hurt.
What the
They're
heck?
old fucking men. Like, they can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that. But what I did see was, I'm trying to find it, but it was with David Icke talking to this African guy.
Mutu Witzbar, whatever the fuck his name is.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
where he talks about like the
Muta fucking something. He has some crazy African name. No, that's when he went to Peru, I think, and that guy was there, or it's another place that he went to, and that's like a 2-hour fucking interview. Credo Mutzbar, that's his name.
No, was it?
Yeah,
was it?
that's
Hold
the
on,
guy, and he's got glasses, and he's wearing a sash that's green and shit, or he's in a green outfit.
And he talks about like the Anunnaki type shit.
Yeah, and he talks about snakes being associated with African culture for a long time. Credo Mutzbar.
Yeah.
It's Credo Mutzbar. I fucking guarantee it.
That's fucking crazy.
I don't know why
bro.
I remember that though.
Yeah, I just went on like this whole marathon of David Icke, and I was like,
I did that when I was 17, and Billy says this is what made me crazy because he's literally heard about David Icke's name since I was fucking a teenager. And I would just be at him at work when we worked in restaurants, and that's why he makes fun of it on the podcast. I'd be in his ear being like, and I thought 2012 might happen, so I'm like, the world's going to end, and there's reptilians, and I would just be in his ear all the time, and he's like, you can't leave the workspace. All I have is my buddy behind me just talking about how the world's ending, and fucking everyone's going to die.
Like, dude, what would it take for you to like,
to what?
You know, I sometimes think of the very fabric of reality, like what it is, right? If this truly is like something going on behind the scenes, if there really is a multiverse. But then we're as humans, we're building all these modern day towers of Babel where we're fucking with things that we shouldn't be fucking with. Did you see that artificial sun? I think it was in Korea or some shit.
Yeah, they shouldn't be doing like yeah, I didn't see that. They shouldn't be doing that the same way they shouldn't be fucking around with the Hadron Collider, where the fuck it's called.
What the fuck? They turned it on the other day. I seen an article. I got it on my phone where it ran for like 20 seconds hotter than the core of the sun. Why the fuck would you want to? Hasn't there been movies about this?
I know.
Hasn't there been like the Spider-Man movie where they're making like black holes and all this stuff? Are we really going to self-destruct and kill ourselves before we?
And that's why we hope, and I hope, people like us, I hope, but like that the aliens will come and intervene because this is getting ridiculous. And the fact that like there's been cases, I think you would know of this, of they've shut down missile silos.
Yeah.
I heard about a case during like when Barack Obama, the guy that everybody loves that can shoot a basketball, but he was killing more people in other countries than you can imagine with drones and shit. So, and there was supposed to be they were going to send a bomb up to, I don't know, hit the third world. This is just conspiracy talk, but then supposedly they an unidentified craft, a UFO. I'm not using that other fucking name.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Oh, fuck that shit. It's too long.
Get with the fucking time.
And this thing exploded the bomb when it was like halfway up, and then the military was chasing an unknown object for fucking like a half an hour. So like that's
what was that one time you told me about the bomb under Florida?
Oh yeah, there's supposedly that's what Benjamin Fulthorpe said, and I wonder if I could find that that footage of him talking, because I would post it on the page. If you remind me and just send me a thing, just even say Benjamin Fulthorpe on Instagram on the messenger, I'll fucking remember it. Because Benjamin Fulthorpe is pretty interesting. He was supposed to be a guy that was on Forbes magazine that made a lot of money, and then he got threatened by people like Henry Kissinger, he says, okay, and George Bush Sr., so he had to leave to Japan. And this is when there was a treaty going on. That's why they think there's obviously, like we're talking about, we just talked about population control, how HARP may exist. So United States is never really like Japan. Japan's really not like the USA. So they kind of were going at it. And then the United States supposedly put a bomb under Japan. This is what Benjamin Fulthorpe says. And he says that that the Japanese have an Illuminati like the States would, but they're even crazier, and they have like 6,000 assassins. This is what this guy is claiming.
What's his name?
Benjamin Fulthorpe. Fulford. It's either full. Yeah, it's Fulford. Like F-U-L Ford. And there's videos. I don't know if you can find him anymore of him talking about this shit. They used to be on YouTube. They probably definitely are now. And he said that they attempted to put a bomb under Japan, so Japan did the same thing to Florida, and that if the elites were to let off this bomb, and like if they knew it, because they would know about it, like as soon as it happened, that they would also bomb Florida. Japan. It's a small fraction compared to Japan. Japan probably all of Japan probably wouldn't sink, but
I think the U.S. would be better off without Florida, to be honest with you.
Well, what if you sunk down there? That'd be sad.
Even though I'm here, I think that they would
You'd
still
have to
be
move to Texas. Like that's where fucking Joe Rogan and everyone's going for some reason.
Dude, it's crazy how if you look up like on DuckDuckGo versus like Google, the different on fringe topics, the different results that you get. But what was I going to say? I really, when we were talking about this, I forgot when we were talking about it last time, that you were talking about how David Icke talks about how the grays are actually made by the reptilians to be able to fuck with people. When you started talking about that, like it made a lot of sense to me, because I'd never really looked at it from that point of view where the grays aren't the aliens. They're just the minions. They're just the byproduct of the system, right? They're just like the gatekeepers.
That's why there's like three different theories, and they could all intertwine with themselves, is how I've heard it. Is that there's these grays that the reptilians created, and from the same genetics of these other grays, and the other grays actually have dicks and vaginas, or some sort of thing, or some sort of thing they can procreate with. It could be like in Scary Movie 4 where he pees out of his finger and shit. Like it could be something totally different. So like that's the version of it, and then like they can procreate and make fucking babies. It's maybe, or there's a few of them left, and then the reptilians took some of their DNA but made grays essentially like a genetic robot, like that. It was like human, but it was still robot. It had a skin kind of thing, and that they were supposed to be like the minions and go down to Earth. And they're not like robots. They were pretty much genetically made, so they have like a human body supposedly, and they just are completely robotic and hive mind. So they think like bees. One person follows the queen, or probably the reptilian fucking controller, like a PS controller, and he's moving all these guys around, and they're supposed to be like the interface. And that's why you see abduction cases, especially when they first started happening, and even abduction cases or UFO cases or alien contact cases in ancient history, it's usually the big eyes, cave drawings of this shit, and they could be the reptilians' interface. So they use them so they tell them exactly what to do, and they do it, and the reptilians don't have to be there. And there's a lot of weird cases about grays, like people getting abducted or seeing them in their room. There's one of these grays were going through this bitch's bookshelf looking for books. So this is a David Icke story he tells, and how they saw a David Icke book and freaked out, and it's fucking weird shit.
What the fuck? All right, so I'm looking for something that Eric Von Daniken had talked about, because you're talking about machines and stuff, and supposedly the very first time that they had gone into the Great Pyramid of Giza, he talks about these accounts, and I'm trying to find, because it's just
of like grays.
No, about supposed machines and robots that they had in there. And I've even talked to a friend of mine where when he's in Egypt, they're like, "Oh, you're on the third level," and it's actually like the first level, and they make you think you're on the second. You're on the third level because they don't want you to go.
There's
to
that hidden
parts.
Chamber too in the Sphinx and shit.
Yeah,
no one's been down there. They like just hypothesize.
And right now I'm looking at something that popped up here. It says the Khufu ship is an intact full-size vessel from ancient Egypt that was sealed into a pit in the Giza pyramid complex at the foot of the Great Pyramid around 2500 BC. The ship is now preserved in the Giza Solar Boat Museum. What the fuck? That's crazy, dude.
Shit's wild.
That's wild. So
so then I just want to one more thing about those Greys though, because then now there's supposed to be a war, and there's like the Zeta Reticulans are. It's like there's good
the Palladians and shit like that.
There's good and bad of every race of aliens, like there is of people, but there's also like good people within those races. That's why you know what I'm saying. That like the reptilians. I
still haven't watched Jupiter Ascending. I'm sorry, bro.
Jupiter Ascending is fucking dope, but there's. There's a lot of variables to go with this, but the fact that like there is good reptilians supposedly live in Hollow Earth that don't really like us but don't really want to kill us, and there's one from Draco's Ocanus that are the ones that are like the warriors and want to fuck everything up. But the same with the Greys, the ones from Zeta Reticuli or Reticulae, whatever the fuck you want to call it, they are like bad. Kind of, but they can also be good. And then you have supposedly a theory that goes to the Greys, the ones that broke off from the reptilians and kind of started their own shit. They were kind of like mutiny. They went off, and they don't have any fucking balls and vaginas and shit to match up their DNA. So what their thing is there's supposedly the reptilians taking off people to do their own hybrid shit, maybe to make more Greys and have them implemented on Earth through the hybrid program. But there's also supposed to be Greys that can't fornicate or spread their genetics just naturally, so they have to do it where they take humans and they splice our DNA with their DNA and put us in a fucking vat and then come out and then we're a hybrid. There's a woman that looks like a crackhead that's been on UFO conferences, and she talks about how she looks kind of weird too. I never can remember her name, but she looks weird, and she's been on live stages talking about this and how she's a hybrid Grey and her mother was a heroin addict and she remembers being in the test tube and all this shit. It's fucked up, but it's interesting.
Yeah, that's
the whole
thing,
hybrid
dude.
shit. You've heard about that.
There's always this talk about how we're genetically modified with the whole ancient astronaut theory and the Anunnaki, which was one of my favorites. I feel like maybe there is some truth to all that, but it's like I always tell you, it's like, if they are so advanced, why would they need us? Right?
Yeah. It's like maybe the Matrix theory. They need our energy, right? We're a valuable planet because our soul energy and because we're new souls, but we could be old souls here to help this. There could be like so many different levels of this. And then I think we're important, and I feel it in my bones that for some reason that we're important, and people and humans are important for some reason beyond our understanding. Or this is like there's theories I've heard that like this is one of the hardest realities to come to, and if there are certain souls like me, like maybe you, like maybe us, I don't know, but that came here for a reason because. This is one of the hardest realities to be in because in other places there is like harmony and there's peace and love and there's also negative places. But this third dense reality where you could lose a loved one and not understand why they're gone or where they're going. There's people on drugs. There's governments that are blowing up other fucking countries. Like that, all these things is one of the hardest realities to come to because this is a learning lesson. This is where souls go to learn lessons. So, and to be better, or they get recycled in the reptilian thought of mind. If you're an alcoholic in this life, you'll be an alcoholic in the next life, and you'll keep doing that, repeating that process. So I believe there's a lot of things that's like, I believe in a bunch of crazy shit, but also I don't know where the line is between all of these. That's why the rabbit hole goes deep. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, it is. And that endless cycle, the Ouroboros, right? That's a symbol that goes way back in time. Yep. And I just wonder how these people knew about all this, about how they were able to tell about this shit. It's like, were they really in contact with something from another realm, right? Like Roswell. Did it really have to do with Aleister Crowley? What are your thoughts on Aleister Crowley, dude?
Oh, Aleister Crowley's an interesting dude. It's just like we covered him, and it's got a lot of downloads. It's one of the more popular episodes. Aleister Crowley, even if the fans know, he's an interesting spiritualist. He kind of formed what the spiritual movement is to this day in a weird way. He did a lot of fucked up magic, but he's I find his thoughts interesting. Like, I want to own his books. And just own him. Like, I have a tarot card set by him, and I saw his Book of Lies at Chapters, which was kind of cool. I've been looking for Aleister Crowley books actually added like a Chapters. That's like the main bookstore of Canada, and I found the Book of Lies, and I was like, do I want it? It's just a bunch of his fucked up poems. I want more of like the Book of the Law and stuff like that. That is more in depth of his thoughts. He has interesting thoughts. It's based on, just not giving a fuck. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, which is pretty much saying do what the fuck you want. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And that's what his thought was. Fucking sex magic, fucking guys out in the desert on peyote. Like, he was a fucked up guy.
He's a fucking rock star.
I know. Well, listen to our episode. If you haven't checked out the Aleister Crowley episode, listen to it. It's very funny because Billy he only knows about him because I was talking about him or some shit, or slightly about something that I brought up. So when we got into it, I made him watch some stuff about him kind of beforehand, and he was interested by it because he's like, "What the fuck? This guy's crazy." And it was a good episode because you have his kind of his other side of it.
The reason I bring him up is because I recently talked to a Rosicrucian, and you have the Hermetic Order and the laws and all that stuff, and he was pretty much talking. I mean, if it quacks like a duck and looks like a duck, then it's a fucking duck, right? And if you're talking about all this fucked up stuff, and obviously aside from all the other stuff that he did with like these different rituals with Abramelin and all this stuff, and supposedly he's the one that was behind Roswell because they opened up a portal from another dimension to let the Greys in, and then you had the Loch Ness monster from a ritual that he was doing weird at the Loch Ness. And
I didn't know about the Roswell portal shit. I gotta add that in if we fucking do that episode.
They supposedly they're to blame for that because after they had actually opened a portal up, but they never closed it. So it was all throughout the same time frame.
He was like Harry Potter shit. They loved like doing spells and casting fucking
exactly. So as weird. Above, so below. And what this guy was trying to get at when I went on a rant about how I was like, fuck Aleister Crowley. And he there's people who defend him, and then there's people who love him, and he pretty much said,
I don't think you should love a child fucker and killer because I'm 1,000% thinking that he killed kids.
The concept behind him, right? Do what thou wilt. He's pretty much talking about that because of Aleister Crowley. He set us back X amount of years because right before he started doing this and perverting the main thing that he's trying to do what thou wilt, do whatever you wish to do, but they perverted it, right? They brought in the sexualization of children.
How could one man have so much power, as stupid Kanye West would say?
Well, here's the thing, dude. So that we all have that power.
But he influenced it more by fucking a guy in his ass.
But no. He perverted it, and he just fucking took us back. You know what I mean? They were ready to reveal to us. You called upon
some dark shit.
That's the thing. They were ready to reveal to us what the meaning of all this is, and how we're all able to tap into this collectiveness and able to do whatever it is that we want and be able to live a fulfilling life. But then there's people who always pervert it, right? There's always people who fuck things up for everybody else. And some can get behind the ideas of Aleister Crowley and what he stood for, but for example, me, I can't get behind the whole fucking kids.
No,
and
no.
But you can't. You know how they say you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But to me,
what does that mean,
bro? Jordan Peterson, you never heard him say that? You can't throw out the baby with the bathwater.
I know Jordan Peterson.
Sometimes you got to nitpick, but I can't get past that. You know what I mean? I just can't.
And that's what I'm saying. I think he's interesting as fuck, but I also think he's fucked up. It's the same way like my girlfriend's like, don't say that you love Charles Manson to people. And I was like, man, I love Charles Manson. Great guy. I'm just joking. But the fact that he was just, I
love Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, that's not that bad. But Charles Manson, people were like, he fucking killed a bunch of people and shit. He didn't kill anybody, technically.
But did he?
But it was just the fact that his thoughts are so fucking interesting. The way he talks about shit, how he's like, you can't touch me in this this realm because my spirit like goes beyond like all the thought, and like, you know, I'm a drifter, a hobo. His fucking shit was poetic as shit. He might have been a mastermind behind all these murders, but how when you see him talk, it's just like, it is just like him shit talking and saying stuff that he thinks makes sense, but that people followed that. It's just almost like, how the fuck did he get all these people to go kill some celebrities? And because he was just sitting there strumming a guitar. He's just super interesting to me, and I just his fucking thoughts are kind of cool. It sounds terrible to say that, but it's like Aleister Crowley's thoughts are kind of cool, but he killed kids.
He's a piece of shit. Yeah, you can't change the fact, and that's why That's why, you know, I'll bring it up to people, and I like to listen to different people's opinions about him because. Yeah, I believe in all that. As above, so below. I feel like that this earth is a mirror of something else, whether we can't see it or not. Whether the earth is flat or not, who the fuck knows, right? Like that's why when people ask me, well,
I'm gonna kill myself in the next life, so I don't come back here.
It's like those memes, bro. Where it's like the astronaut. He looks back at the earth. And he's like, it's pizza, and like it's always been pizza. And it's like the guy behind him.
Yeah, I know this world's fucked. I guess that's a good place to end it, like on fucking good old Aleister.
Yeah, fuck Aleister Crowley.
We did a lot of we covered a lot of topics on this. I got pretty stoned too. Yeah, that was a fucking good one. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, dude.
Is it still sunny out there in Florida? I was gonna comment. It looked nice and sunny out there. It gets dark like at 4:30 now in Canada. It's
starting to get darker later and later, but I'm just ready for this daylight savings. I don't know what daylight they're trying to save, but.
Oh yeah, because I think Canada's not doing it anymore. I think this is the last year they're going to do it.
What?
Yeah, we're erasing daylight savings for some.
Who the fuck invented that?
I don't know, and I don't know why. But if you look up Canada and daylight savings, I'm pretty sure I'll come up with an article because we're getting rid of it. I'm pretty sure. Or Ontario, I think it's all of Canada. We're getting rid of
George Hudson. Fuck that guy from New Zealand.
Yeah, we're getting rid of daylight savings
in
now.
1895. Look at this. He proposed a 2-hour time shift so he'd have more after work hours of sunshine to go bug hunting in the summer.
That guy did it? That guy did it? What the fuck? That's a fact.
1895, yeah, bro. An etymologist from New Zealand.
That is the weirdest shit. And he did it for the entire world. Everybody fucking goes by that shit. That's why we're canceling it. Fuck this guy, bug guy. That's fucking weird.
Yeah, so follow me on social media. At the Juan on Juan podcast. Follow me on YouTube at the Juan on Juan podcast. And hopefully
follow us on stuff, strangebrewpodcast.com. You know where to find us. Hose heads, Strange Brew Hose heads.
And then the next episode we're doing is the Black Light.
Yeah, the Black Knight. The Black Knight satellite. The Black Knight satellite.
Yeah, the Black Knight returns.
Do we die? Do we have an afterlife? I don't know.
All right, we'll tune in next time on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,